So I have
Yes,
a
sir.
couple of requests. I would be sharing my screen at different times. So I
Yes.
mean that I would like that I am given access to sharing the screen.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
the second thing that I have done today for all of us is to look at parenting with a little bit of sarcasm and wit. So I thought, see, the entire learning can be so much more enjoyable if we bring in a lot of humor into this entire exercise. Nevertheless, we will not lose track of what the purpose is. The purpose is to set pace with parental expectations in trying to realize achievables what schools are doing over these years in trying to balance parental aspirations with the school's vision plan. So it's always a very difficult task for the because the vision alignment is defined by the founder of the school, and the founder of the school tries to draw a long-term plan for the schools to emerge and grow. The market realities compel the teachers and the principal at the helm of affairs to try and set balances to what the stakeholders' desires are, and put a bridge that connects these two. So will through these minutes that I have, possibly closing in on an hour, I guess, I would explore various challenges that we have and try to understand them as the teachers and the principals say it, and offer some solutions towards the end. So, if I may be permitted, I would like to get on with the program.
Please, sir.
Uh, are you in a position to see the presentation screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so are you able to see the full screen, or are you only able to see the slides as it appears on a PowerPoint presentation? So
Slides only.
okay, so see, I'm just going to move on. See, this is uh, a topic that was given to me. What I thought is when we started building this particular presentation, I looked at what the parents had in their mind. I was reading a couple of documents. So it appeared that the parents seem to expect a lot. So a lot more than what we feel that they would be expecting from the schools. So I would be moving on one after one and try and mark all your questions at different times. I would be giving pauses, and when we pause, we can reflect and start answering those questions. So keeping pace with the expectations of present day parents is what we would be looking at now. I have to ask you to ponder over something. So look at this particular cartoon. Are you able to see the cartoon?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it just I just borrowed it. So I'm crediting the sources. You can see where I picked it up from. So it gives you a fair idea as to what the parents are currently expecting. So they're loading their child's backpack with almost all of what they desired that they wanted to do when they were teenagers or when they were growing up. The question now is, who are these people? Who are they packing for? Now the question is packing my dreams and my aspirations. So this is a particular statement. I'm just asking you to look at it. Is the child asking this question or making the statement or the parent making the statement? So I would start with a reflection. I would ask all of you to do this. Are you looking at this particular cartoon from the eyes of a student or through the eyes of a parent?
Answer.
And now I'm just asking you to look at it in both ways. Where are they headed? Where are the children headed? Where are the parents headed? So this is going to be your startup question for the day. Please ponder over it and then come up with your own solutions. So the big question, who's packing what? Okay, so look at this. Now, it appears that this entire packing is being done for dummies. You can say that the child is a dummy or the parent is a dummy. So they have put almost everything inside of it. Go back and revisit your value systems because we want to take this in. First, am I a good model for parenting values? You, not as a teacher, but as a parent. See, look at this particular image there. I have borrowed it again. I asked my son, Michael, am I a good mother? He said, my name is John. So the question is, I have completely lost it as a parent because the focus is almost not there. Should I ensure that I have missed all that I've missed at school be picked up by my wards? This again, look at an interesting image. So when you miss one day of school and your friends tell you what you missed. So this is about what we seem to gather from all our adult friends. So making comparisons, trying to understand what a child from another school does, and then impose the same on our children. Now, I'm just creating controversies more and more. So I'm just starting to say, I think smart people have dumb children and dumb people have smart children. So this is for you again to reflect, because these are the kind of questions that you would be imposing on yourself and the parents would be imposing on you at different times. Now, this is a statement. Not all children are extraordinary. The extraordinary ones comprise a small percentage of population. Most children are ordinary and should only seek an ordinary developmental path. So, where is this controversy here? Can we go ahead and say that every child is extraordinary and every child has a capability that he or she could come up and share just like anybody else? Can I make comparisons on every child being extraordinary with all kind of skill sets? So this is a conundrum. So you can't say that the children are not extraordinary. At the same time, no child is extraordinary. So which means that, see, the challenges that are imposed on adults are seen through their own eyes. And the marking is to believe that there are certain qualities every child is endowed with, and that makes that child very special. Now again, I'm just asking you to interpret, and I want some of you to answer. First, I would like Shiva to answer. So, every child is gifted in some way. So this is a statement, and I would like you to interpret this particular statement. So can one of you interpret this particular statement? Maybe Balan?
Yes, sir. I think
So
that
can you
every
please
child,
interpret it?
yes, sir. If every child, one way or the other way, they are gifted. Some child may be very good in writing. Some child may be very good in thinking and coming out with the brilliant ideas. Some child may be very good in kinesthetic part of work. So every child is one way or the other way.
Absolutely. I mean, I love you for this particular statement, but unfortunately, Shiva, the challenge here is that a child is said to be gifted when the child has a learning difficulty. So all the children that are branded to be gifted are actually children who have learning difficulty. So, so you can look at it, because this is how the world coins the world gifted for children. It is unfortunate, but that is the sad reality. So,
Yes,
so these are some of the common expectations. The school should provide a safe and caring environment. The quality of teaching should be good. Curriculum should provide good learning opportunities. Expenses should be low. Sports facilities need to support a range of interests. Plenty of scope for co-curricular activities. Good infrastructure, library, laboratories, and facilities. Provide for parental engagement at convenient time. And of course, the reputation of the school. So these are some of the common expectations, but I want you to stretch it. Imagine, now let us say that a parent says that the school should have an assistant commissioner manning the gate, and then every single area, including the bathroom, should be provided with closed circuit cameras. So all the classrooms should have these cameras for them to continue to monitor what is happening inside the classroom. So every teacher should have qualified in the IAS examination and have the best educational qualifications and possibly a PhD in education. So the curriculum should be set to international benchmarks for all the facilities, infrastructure, technology, everything that the school gives. So they should not be charging us any money at all. So the sports facilities should be really good, that it prepares my child to become an international athlete. So there could be so many co-curricular activities that the child engages before school and after school all the time and continues to live in school. So the school infrastructure should be so good that see, almost every single activity that the child takes up is satisfied by the school. So the parent would summon the teacher and the principal at any time, and the principal and the teacher should be available. So this school should be the #1 school in the world. So this is stretching it and imagining it, but now which is true? So if these common expectations are true, or the parents stretch this to believe that the school can do so much, I believe the latter is true. So look at this. This is generally something that I put together. It says that dad shows us in. Okay, so I'm just putting this so that if I'm overbearing, I'm going to say that don't try to get away with anything. Always forgive what I missed. Do what I say, not what I do. You should be perfect. You need to have bigger goals all the time. You need to be obsessed with your achievements and continue to stay there. I'm sorry, we are going to ground you because of what you did. You should always be in a good mood. Understand and be grateful for what I have given you. Stick to your task all the time. Ignore how we treat each other as adults. Never mess up. Okay, so these are some of the things that I put up. Look at, is this what the parents always want? I'm just going to leave behind this presentation with Shiv Shakti Balan. You can look at it, because I am asking all these questions. So being a helicopter parent and be overbearing, you are trying to expect quite a lot, which is almost not possible. Because children will want to get away with small things. They will break stuff. So they will pretend that they have not eaten an extra chocolate. So if the parent does something wrong, see, they expect the child to forgive. So they expect the child to follow instructions all the time. They want the child to be perfect. If the child achieves something, they want the child to set bigger goals. If the child achieves something, they want the child to achieve all the time. If the child does a small mistake, the child is grounded. So the child is always expected to be in a good mood. The child is always expected to be grateful for what the parents have given them. And the children are expected to stick to their task all the time. They should not be worried about whether the mother and father yell at each other and how they treat one another, and they should never mess up. So I'm just because I wanted a sort of an introduction to a word jumble, and for you to understand, we are using pointers that are easy to understand. You can use this as a strategy to remember some of what you have put on board. What gives the teachers the right to give my child homework and assignments? What gives them the right to fail them? I'm suing the school. I want you to discuss this particular statement because this seems to be a routine challenge. So, and I'm just going to stop sharing here, and I'm going to go back to a particular YouTube clip which is embedded with some audios. This actually happened in an Australian school. It's very funny. So I'm just going to stop sharing. I'm going to start sharing something from YouTube now. So let me go ahead and see if I'm lucky here. Hello, you have reached the automated answering service of your school. In order to assist you in connecting you to the right staff member, please listen to the options before making a selection. Why your child is absent, press 1. To make excuses for why your child did not do his homework, press 2. To complain about what we do, press 3. To swear at staff members, press 4. To ask why you didn't get information that was already been enclosed in your newsletter and several filers you have been mailed to you, press 5. If you want us to raise your child, press 6. If you want to reach out and touch, slap, hit or someone, press 7. You request another teacher for the 3rd time this year, press 8. To complain about bus transportation, press 9. To complain about school lunches, press 0. If you realize that this is the real world and your child must be accountable and responsible for his or her behavior, classwork and homework, and it is not the teacher's fault for your class, please hang up and have a nice day. If you want this another language, move to another country that speaks it. See, did you guys listen to that? Yeah. I mean, this is pretty true, and it actually happened in Queensland. And just for the schools to teach parents a lesson, this was used in the school's answering machine. So, would you like Balan sir to do that in your answering machine? We almost did it in our school. So, these are the kind of expectations that we are talking about, Balan, and I pulled it out because it was really, really funny. It came to me about 3 years back as a WhatsApp forward. So I just remembered that I might want to use it today, and then pulled it for all of you to see. So these are the kind of expectations that we are talking about. The parents have on the school. So I'm going back to my presentation because I interrupted it, and let me continue. So should you like that I break here so that there are questions? So we will leave it to the moderator.
Teachers, if you have any questions. Teachers, do you have any questions now? You can unmute and ask. Any questions, please?
We are good to go. So,
Yes, sir.
you can put it in the chat box, and maybe if you don't want to ask now, you can ask towards the end. But see, please also remember that we are wearing the teacher's hat now. So if you start wearing the parents' hat, then you would understand see what kind of expectations that you have, which may not be in sync with what the school believes in.
ஆமா சார், இங்கேயும் கூப்பிட்டு அங்கேயும் வெளியே போகணும்னு சொல்லி இங்க வந்தா எங்க காக்க வைக்கிறாங்க. அதுக்கு தான் கிளாஸே மெயின்டைன் பண்ணிருக்கலாம்ல வீட்ல உட்காந்து. அப்புறம் அனுப்புறேன். I went ODன்னு சொல்லி அனுப்புறேன்.
Please mute your phone. Tamil teachers, I think.
Okay, so please look at it this way. See, what is always a problem is that we really do not know when to say the conversation is over to the parent. So, and we don't understand that we are actually being pressured by them. And please, you will always have to look out for what both of you agree upon when you engage in a conversation. And please tell your line managers, because whenever there is a problem for you as a teacher from the parent, I guess the principal needs to take at least half of your load. Ensure that you apprise what the problem is. And you need to always be prepared for surprises. So from the parents, you simply cannot understand completely what to expect. And please respond only after listening, because in most instances, they tease your egos and your emotions very fast, and you only retort without giving a deep thought about the statements. So because, see, you can never ever satisfy the expectations of the parent. Please look at it from this angle. Parents that make unrealistic demands for kids risk seeing their kids' mental, emotional, and physical well-being severely compromised. And of course, they seriously compromise your mental, emotional, and physical well-being too. So the teachers are also going to get seriously affected by these unrealistic demands. Setting realistic expectations for the child, one that is not too low or high, helps him develop competence and a healthy sense of self-worth. This all of us know about. Healthy expectations encourage and allow a child to do well without putting undue pressure on him. So what would be the influences here? So your style, personal example, being a role model, that is, relationship with other members in the family, parental involvement. I'm not saying that the parent should interfere. The parent should get involved. These are influences. So when I say influences, they have both positive and negative connotations. When I say underminers, so they only limit what the child can actually achieve. Lack of encouragement, constant criticism, anxiety about everything that the child does, negative comparison. You're no good. So look what your friend from your class does. Having unrealistic expectations, all of it would undermine what the child ultimately achieves. And now there is something very special about the Indian parent. This is a collection of cartoons that I'm going to share through these windows. Take a look at it, and believe me, when I saw that, so I see my parents' expectation in each of it. When the child is just about to stand, so the parent would go ahead and say, "Hamara beta Milka Singh banega." So when the child is about 3 years, so and the child is humming a nursery rhyme, Lata Mangeshkar banegi, Indian idol jeetegi. So these are the kind of statements. At 7 years, when he wins an essay writing competition, हमारा तो एक ही सपना है, एक दिन तू बड़ा होकर रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर की तरह महान बनेगा. So one day you would grow up and become somebody like Rabindranath Tagore. When it's about 10 years, she becomes a class monitor. My child will be the best manager this country has ever seen. So the child successfully reads a short story. Our child will become a great orator, will inspire people with his words. So when the child is preparing for a quiz competition, our kid will be counted in the league of legends like Derek O'Brien. When the child teaches younger cousin basic mathematics, she has extraordinary explanation skills, will become a great professor in the future. And when he scores 90% in the board examinations, my child will be the scientist who finds another planet like Earth. These are the kind of expectations which could be seriously unrealistic. So when 17 solves basic accounting problems, she will totally clear the chartered accountancy exam in the first try. Takes board examination, he will be selected in the topmost college in the country. 21 years sits for college placement, iska to Google jaisi company mein placement hoga. So appears for competitive examination, पूरे देश में top करेगा, अखबार में फोटो आएगी हमारी. Plays with toddler, he is such a responsible father, let him get married. So makes one responsible financial decision, she'll be such a successful businesswoman, she should start something on her own. And this continues. Believe me, see, you would have your own children and your parents will continue to parent you. So this doesn't stop here. I'm just putting this, making it really funny to look at parental expectations. I've made it sound like the 10 Commandments revisited. So look at the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt wake up before the sun does. Thou shalt not chat on the cell all the day. Thou shalt not curb the use of internet today. Thou shalt curb the use of internet today. Thou shalt multitask simultaneously with all our plans for your studies. Thou shalt not be attracted to the opposite gender. Thou shalt not eat junk food and start cherishing tair sadam. Thou shalt not get a minimum. Thou shalt get a minimum of 99% marks. Thou shalt get All India rank 1 in IIT, JEE, NEET or CLAT. Thou shalt listen and agree to whatever we say. Thou shalt clean your room daily. So these are some of the expectations. I'm sorry, most of it doesn't actually happen. Now, so the question is, what are the parents doing? Are they punishing or are they trying to teach? So while both can occur, it's important to note that if parents are disciplining because they are having a strong emotional reaction to the child's behavior, or whether they are tempering the strong response with well thought out consequence that's going to help the child see why what they did was not okay, hold them accountable for it, learn how a person moves forward after making a mistake. Now the question is whether the parent is punishing or whether the parent is teaching. So the parent will have to look at it very pragmatically. Please remember, when the parent always raises the bar, So the children will never meet the bar. Please remember what was it like at that age and not make every incident a nuclear explosion. Does this take my word anywhere? This is the question. Fear, the only basis of motivation. Because the most expectations are marked by fear of losing something, fear of failing grades, fear of not staying with your class, fear of losing out on attendance, fear of being expelled, fear of closed doors to open vistas of higher learning. So this is what, so if you don't study, you're not going to be successful. If you don't do this, you're not going to be successful. If you don't do that, you're not going to be successful. Now, so I'm just sharing this. So the particular cartoon says, where is everyone? And the boy says that they're all expelled. This is what promotes motivation. Now let us once again reflect as parents. Are your expectation yours or someone else's? Should we expect gratitude all the time? Doesn't it look like an invitation for unhappy parenting? And what do we look for around the corner for our kids? Just look at the cartoon, you would understand. Work harder, earn more money, buy more things, keep going. So should this be the motivation? Now, let us say that we are preparing the children for the rat race. You're only going to make the smartest and the fastest rat. Everything is determined by competition. Now, if you go ahead and say that they're going to learn values later, maybe they will, but what is the trade-off? Now, the question is, where does this rat race start? Home, school, or community? And then finally, what do we strive to manufacture? We would be manufacturing junkies. Now, I'm just going to use Mark Twain's quip here. We have never let our schooling interfere with our education. It's a very sad remark because, see, Mark Twain completely rejected what the schools could actually do for the children, because at one point, schools were taught to look at education from the side of manufacturing factories, and it did not provide space for differentiation. Schools are not like that anymore. Schools are very different now, and I would strongly disagree with what Mark Twain has said for the current schooling environment. What's the truth? We are unaware that our wards need us more than we needed our parents as we are growing up. They need to have a home and a family, a school and a community to connect and to learn. In short, they need enriching experiences for the real success and need you to spell it. Have you given them what needs to be rightfully theirs? So this is the reflection that I want all of us to have. So this is a beautiful poem by Dorothy and Nold. So if you see that if children live with criticism, they learn to condemn. If they live with hostility, they learn to fight. With fear, they learn to be apprehensive. With pity, they learn to feel sorry for themselves. With ridicule, they learn to feel shy. With jealousy, they learn to feel envy. With shame, they learn to feel guilty. With encouragement, they learn confidence. With tolerance, they learn patience. With praise, they learn appreciation. With acceptance, they learn to love. With approval, they learn to like themselves. With recognition, they learn it is good and to have a goal. With sharing, they learn generosity. With honesty, they learn truthfulness. With fairness, they learn justice. With kindness and consideration, they learn respect. So with security, I'm not able to see that. I'm sorry. With security, they learn to have faith in themselves and those about them. With friendliness, they learn the world is a nice place in which to live. Now, I'm just closing it here because this is a wonderful poem, and it just talks about what the parents have to see in their children and how to raise their children. Going back to today's engagement, I'm wondering if we are also using similar yardstick as parents. I would like to open this forum for discussion, and if there are any points which you would like that I consider, or if you like that the school answers, I would be happy to do so. So I'm just stopping this sharing now, and I'm going to keep this forum open for discussion. Shiva?
Yes, sir. Ready, sir. Sir, I would like to ask you one thing, sir.
Yeah.
Of course, parents have so much of expectations, but there is no other way, sir, because growing world, growing expectations, insecurity feeling, so all these things are making them to be more excited, and nothing wrong because they are paying fee. Since they are our customers, it's our duty to fulfill their needs, sir. Isn't it,
See,
sir?
yeah. See, I understand. Let us say that you are a true altruist. So, who wants to help? So, you feel that punishing yourself is completely all right. So, I'm going ahead and asking you to recall what this Queensland school actually did. See, it takes this entire village to raise a child. I mean, this is the common adage where every single person who's an adult has the responsibility to raise a child. So, and most of it, and we also say that values actually start at home. So, because we see parents as the first teachers and home as the first school. So this is participation where the entire community needs to rally with one another to ensure that the child gets the best. Now, let us say there is a conflict between what happens at home and what happens at school, and there is no dialogue between home and school. The child continues to be very, very confused about that particular values, and the values will always be in conflict. There is no way that the child is going to realize it till he makes mistakes as an adult and punishes himself to learn from his own poor experiences, which is pretty bad for me because you are an idiot if you wait for all those experiences to happen in your life and not get these learning from others' mistakes. So the second thing is that for a child to come to school and let us say bully another child or treat someone with great disrespect. So yes, the school has a role to play, but assume that he is from a seriously abusive household. He see his father beating up his mother, so his mother yelling back at his father. What would he do? I mean, see, because he had very poor role models at home, and he's going to transfer that learning to wherever he goes. So it is going to be doubly difficult for the school to make any big changes to this particular character that he has picked up, unless say he gets a big beating out of this particular learning and learns from his mistakes. The second thing is that the child when the parent brings the child and the school makes a remark, look, it appears that your child is not in sync with the actual cognitive age for numeracy skills or for language skills for a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old. Do you think that the parent is going to readily agree that, yes, sir, I am absolutely sure what you have said is 100% truth? I am very conscious that my child is not really good in language or math, and therefore I would do everything in my effort to support the school and trying to understand where he stands and have very different benchmarks for him. Or would the parent be in complete denial and say that no, so he's just like another child, and the school has not done anything to help him because I have paid money. So see, your teacher only taught him mathematics, or your teacher only taught him language. It is up to you to prepare him for the rest of his life. There is no reference of any help for home assignments. So the parent does not engage actively in any of the child's learning, but would want the school to completely take care of the child's learning. It is sad when the parent is not educated, because the parent does not even realize that he is in a denial. Say, assume that you have a first-generation learner, and this parent is not much educated, or the parents are not much educated. They believe that whatever the school does is the only way forward for the child, and always believe that the child is intelligent and can pick up things. There is no iota of understanding that the child could actually be challenged because he is not nurtured in a great environment at home. So these are some of the possibilities which would seriously impact what the school delivers and what schools can deliver. So did I answer your question, Bal?
Yes, sir. But what I feel is that how the teachers can equip themselves to meet these challenges.
Okay, see, there is no way we can go ahead and satisfy the parental expectations unless the parents realize that, so they have an equal role to play. See, some of the slides that I showed you, so they were very sarcastic. See, they're saying that, see, what is your role in your child rearing? I mean, say, would then you will have to turn over the child to a foster care center, which also has a school, because you don't want to raise children. So wherever the parent is taken in confidence, the only way the child can be nurtured properly is for both of us to engage. So if the teacher is in the defensive, the parent will be in defensive. If parent is in defensive, the teacher will be in defensive, and none of us will help the child. So the only way forward for us is to understand the issue on hand. Let us say the child is not performing well in mathematics. That is an issue on hand. See, how to ensure that the academic outcomes are achieved. See, what can be the contribution from the child? What can be the contribution from the parent and the family? What can be the contribution from the teacher? If there is an accepted sign-off on this particular statement, then the three of us should hold to our guns and fire it at will and make sure that it happens all the time. If one of us sits back and puts the blame on the other person, this is not going to happen. So the participation and the commitment to that particular cause from every single person or the stakeholder here becomes hugely important. It is very unfortunate that the child is unable to have this metacognition and is hugely dependent upon both the teacher and the parent for him to realize his level of competency and therefore realize those achievements. It is unfair for a child from a level of class 1 in language studying class 5 to hope to pass in any English examination. It is unfortunate, but this is what we hope for, because we do not realize that the child has a difficulty and believe that the child needs to go with the rest of the class and satisfy the minimum benchmarks. So this is one such example. There are many such examples. I'm looking at our everyday transaction, and I'm sure teachers will be in a position to share many such examples where teachers know innately that they are at fault. So if let us assume that the child comes to class and the first hour of the day puts his head and then goes to sleep. Now, what is the problem here? The teacher will go and then say that you lazy fellow, you can't sit up the first hour of the class. Say, get out of the class, go wash yourself and come back and sit down. Now, but please understand, there could have been a serious challenge at home where this child was unable to sleep. It could be because of what the child did, see, sitting up late and watching movies, or maybe what happened at home. Maybe it was an abusive household. Maybe he did not have an environment where he could sleep. So, are we showing concern and empathy to this particular situation or issue, or are we reacting to this issue? There are several times we react to the issues and situations, and we are not internalizing the possibility of problems that could be associated with these situations. This is true. Even for us as principals, we do that. See, I have on several occasions made mistakes, and I have been compelled to go back and apologize in front of the entire school that what I did was wrong. Because when I do that, I become a good role model, saying that, sorry, son, it was very unfair for me to have yelled at you for something you did not do yesterday. And I am not very happy that I did it, and I shamed you in front of your entire class. I am sorry, I apologize for what I did. So if I do that, the next time when I do it, the child is actually going to forgive me, because he knows that it is all right for the senior principal to make mistakes, and because he comes back and he has the courage to apologize, it's all right. So all is forgiven. So, but if I don't do that, so I would have hurt this child terribly, because he was not responsible for it, and he's going to look at me like he's looking at a monster. So we do make mistakes, but it is for us to correct those mistakes. And most of the times we don't do it because of our egos, because we feel that it is below our dignity and our pride to get down to say sorry to somebody.
True, sir. Thank you, sir. Teachers, any questions, please? Here one question, sir. How to address this case? A child who is good in studies, but he is sleeping disability while taking class, but he was well conscious while sleeping also. He was the topper of the class.
Okay, see, did you mention eating disorder?
Sleeping.
No, sir.
No,
Sleeping,
I mean,
sir.
Sleeping disorder.
no, he's
Sleeping
no.
disorder.
Okay, see, the question is for us to understand if there is a disinterest. I have some prodigies. See, these kids demonstrate what do you say, an attention deficit behavior, and they seem to be extremely hyperactive. And believe me when I say this, these kids are extraordinarily intelligent. And in some cases, they felt terribly bored because they feel that they are at least 5 levels ahead of the class. And every time they put up their hands or they are trying to answer, the teacher says, shut up and sit down. Because now the child knows that he's ahead of the class. The child knows that he's getting bored. So the child knows that there is no way he can be hyperactive, because again the teacher is going to pull him down for it. So the best way he realizes is for me to close my eyes, and some instances he may actually go to sleep. So this could be one reason. Another reason, of course, is what I told you earlier. There could be a challenge because at home the mother is actually pushing this child to study more and more. She says that tomorrow you have a test. I mean, tomorrow you have this quiz in the class. I want you to answer all the questions. And once he answers all the questions and goes to sleep, he wakes up, no, I want you to revise once again. And in the morning, when the sun is still down, so the mother says, wake up, and I want you to go through this revision once again. This boy is terribly tired. So he knows all the answers. So it's all in his head. But then, believe me, the mother does not believe in his competency, or believes that this boy has to reassure her of his competencies and skill set, so pushes him to be awake all the time. This could be another reason. So there could be plenty of reasons for the child to stay at the top of the class and indulge in sleeping. I have instances where the child was continuously drugged by the father. The child had the challenge of behavioral maladjustments. He was really at the top of the class, but would get seriously annoyed and irritated. And if he's annoyed and irritated, he would spit at others. So this is a practice that he picked up from home. He would spit at others when he's annoyed and irritated. See, if he's not annoyed and irritated, if he's left to do his task inside of a class, so he would do it well. This was a behavioral maladjustment, and he had some special needs issues. But the boy was brilliant. And what the parent did is that the parent drugged the child, and the child would continue to sleep in the class. We were all wondering what was happening, because it was as if the child was doped. It was not even sleepy, but then if you make him sit, he will fall all over the place. It was not natural, and we found out that this child had this specific problem, and we had to send the parents through to counseling and also have a special needs program for the child. See, the child still has this challenge, but he is a lot better. So I mean, there could be several reasons, not just one.
Thank you, sir. Next question is from Christina Gabriel. The child is very interested but sleeps every day after lunch. Should we allow the child to sleep? She's a kindergarten. She's from kindergarten compartment.
Okay, I mean, I'm surprised that the kindergarten children are allowed to stay after lunch. So can you explain that to me, Balan? Because say
actually,
my experience has been that these children have not internalized a sleeping rhythm yet, because till about 4.5, 5 years of age, the general sleeping rhythm could still be delayed because of the biological clocks. And it is unfair to hold on the child to wakeful hours during afternoon, and it is most likely that the child will actually go for a nap. And it is true in most cases where the biological rhythm has not yet set. So that's the reason why the mothers tend to be awake all the time, because the baby sleeps through the day. So the developmental milestones in some cases are not reached when the child is 3.5, and there is a possibility of a delay. And that's one reason, if there is a holdback or a creche or something like that, there is a slot devoted to the kindergarten for sleeping. And this sleeping usually happens after lunch. So there are other possibilities which could be pathological. So the pathological possibility is that usually when the children eat, so there is a possibility that the sugars are immediately broken down into alcohols and aldehydes, and there is a possibility that it can actually reach the brain. If it reaches the brain, it compromises the oxygen supply, so they become a little less loaded with oxygen. So anoxia is a condition where the brain triggers itself to go to sleep for a reasonable duration of time. So there are other thoughts here, like the soporifics, the endorphins that are released tell the body to relax while it is functioning, and these endorphins have a role on sleep inducement. So this is another possibility which is not generally pathological, but say any sleep after lunch is quite normal for a kindergarten child, and for me it should be permitted.
But not for teachers.
Oh, teachers going to sleep. So see, I think you're very familiar with this term, Shiva. See, I used to have this term as a graveyard shift. See, the first hour after lunch, so is a challenge for any teacher. because most children at any age have a tendency to relax after lunch. You understand? So we have a. I'm not able to recall this particular adage in Tamil, which talks about that after lunch there is a tendency for people to go to sleep. So you remember that adage, Tamil proverb.
Undamayakum Tondanukum.
Undamayakum. So you understand. So what happens? I remember. I'm not making fun of this teacher. This teacher was a social science teacher, and she had a sing-song voice. So a beautiful sing-song voice, sort of the right kind of a frequency to put people to sleep. And she would turn her back to students and then start using the board. And I would promptly go on my rounds. This was in Chettinad Vidyashram. Promptly go on my rounds, and I would see half the class sleeping. So this was immediately after lunch, and because this teacher had this nice voice like a lullaby, and she had a sing-song voice, she put everybody to sleep. So that's the graveyard shift, and this graveyard shift is one that tells the teacher, if you are able to keep every single child awake and alert after lunch, you are the best teacher in the school. So yes, see, there is a tendency for children to sleep, and even for us, I would say, because of these endorphins release and what it does to our brain. So it's quite possible, because most of the metabolism is directed towards breakdown of the food, especially when the food is rich. You should understand that the body works extra to break down the food, and as it is breaking down the food, it sort of makes it easy for the rest of the body to relax, and that's what happens after eating.
Thank you, sir.
Eat a lot of green chilies. So make sure that you, I mean, the last thing is a tangy lemon, and it hits your brain so hard that you don't go to sleep.
Oh. Thank you, sir. Next question is from Mrs. Malati. Will asking excuse be the only solution for all the problems? Please explain, sir.
No. See, the question is, let us say there is a genuinity. I mean, you can't ask for excuses all the time. It will never solve problems. I'm just saying that, see, there is a very huge difference between apologizing and finding excuses. Apologizing is an understanding of that you have done a mistake, and then willing to make amends and correct that particular mistake. So excuses is trying to get around the situation. So let us, I mean, I would pardon almost every single excuse that the child has when the child thinks of something magical. See, now there are a list of wonderful excuses. So when a child walks in late and the teacher says that, why did you come in late? And the child says that, ma'am, I stopped by to pick this flower for you because it will look beautiful on your head. So now, this is a phenomenal excuse, and I would be surprised if the child can penalize the child for this particular excuse. So see, now the other excuse, I mean, it's pretty difficult to fathom this. See, when a child comes back and says that the first time around, the child comes and says that, sorry ma'am, we started very early this day and my cycle tire got punctured. Okay, so the question, okay, you pardon this child. So the second time around, the child comes and says, sorry ma'am, my cycle tire got punctured. So you are in doubt about this particular excuse, but maybe you want to give the benefit of doubt to the child, you let the child go. The third time that the child comes and says this, you're not willing to excuse the child. So you know that there is a good possibility for this child to be making up stories, and you are wondering, why is the child so dumb that he is not making up new stories? So you're not going to excuse this child because he's making up. There are several instances like that where the children come up with phenomenal excuses. So I had a particular problem and it became a very serious problem. Shiva would remember this because it happened in his own department. So you remember, Shiva, there was this boy who wanted to go to use the toilet during examination, and the teacher prevented him from going to the examination, going to the loo a second time or a third time. And you know what this boy did? The boy pulled up a water bottle and threatened that he would urinate inside the examination hall. I mean, it happened. I'm not joking. This was a senior boy. It was a senior boy because, see, the teacher was right, because the teacher did not understand for a third time or a fourth time why this boy needed to go and use the loo, because the boy never said that he had a urine incontinence or a problem, because there is no way for the teacher to understand. So what do we do this? This is a real situation. This is a real situation. I can't blame the child for not telling the teacher why he needed to go to, but I can actually blame the child for pulling up a prank like that. And I mean, what should I do here as a principal? Because I have a situation. The teacher says that this is gross disrespect and the child should be expelled. The child says that, sir, I had a genuine problem. So what do you expect me to do? I got angry. So I faced this situation, but then I let these two talk because I was not able to give a proper answer to either of them. I convened a meeting, and then finally the boy apologized for his rude behavior, and the teacher apologized for not asking him why he needed to go to the loo quite frequently. So because and it was settled, but I was not able to give an answer to the teacher. So these situations arise, and it is all right for you to be confused. Don't be worried about, sir, should I give answers all the time? No, don't give answers. Ask questions. So you ask the child, I mean, do you think that you need to be excused once again for the stupid excuse that you are giving me once again? So let the child answer. See, can you give me a better excuse the next time? So see, because this is boring, because your excuses get boring. See, think of something very imaginative. Now, see, the question is, you are subtly telling them that you don't like to be given these excuses again and again, and you're also telling me that your guy gets smart, because I am not as dumb as you believe I am. I'm actually smart, and therefore, see, if you are making up excuses, make sure that you make up good excuses. I mean, please don't pardon. Please don't pardon all the excuses. It cannot happen.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Jagan has asked a question.
Yeah.
Is there any suggestions to identify child prodigy?
See, yes. See, let me put it this way, because see, most of us on most occasions are tuned to behave in a normal fashion to a particular situation. We behave very normally, age appropriate manner most of the time. But see, if a teacher observes that something is not age appropriate and then is ahead for that particular age, so the teacher understands that it is an adult-like skill set. Now, if it is an adult-like skill set and it is a desirable skill set, okay, so let us say that you know, when the வயசுக்கு மீறி பேசுறான் அப்படின்னு சொன்னா, it's not a desired skill set. Okay, so he speaks adult language. This boy talks about sexual closeness. He talks about promiscuity. He talks about things which only adults talk about, which is not desirable. So then we look at this as a complaint. Maybe the child has those skill set already. But when it is a desirable skill set, say, let us say that he can understand music just like nobody else does, and he's only 5 years of age, and he can tell you interesting stuff about everything around. It is magical, and you know, so this child is a prodigy. In most cases, what happens is that certain aspects of brain function are spiked in these children. So if you are taking, say, very rich in emotions and response. It could be your prefrontals and frontals. So frontoparontals and temporals take care of, occipitals take care of something else. So what happens is that there are, see, certain areas in the brain which would, see, trigger faster neuronal networks, and therefore the child is able to pick up and learn extremely fast with respect to a particular aspect. So if this aspect is picked up and the teacher recognizes this aspect, yes, you can recognize the child as a prodigy. So let us say that the child has picked up about 15 languages, and he can speak and converse in 15 languages, and he is only 7 years of age. And the school insists that the only language for communication is English. Are you even going to pick up this particular quality that the child has? No, never. So unless you give the scope to this child to explore his skill sets, it is almost impossible for you to pick up this prodigy. So for a teacher, you need to be really, really observant. And if I start overvaluing this particular skill set, I tend to put other children down. So see, while it is very desirable that this particular child needs to be given platform for him to explore his skill sets, it is also desirable that other children are not put down because of this particular quality that he or she carries. So I would say remarkable observation skills, at the same time be extremely wary of the damage that you could be doing others.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Sorry.
Yeah, are there anything else? There are plenty popped up in the screen. Say a primary child is good in studies, but a bit slow in understanding the concept. The parent thinks it's a big issue and wants their kid to be quick and good in everything and force the child. So what can we do in this particular situation? Okay, this is Momina Rahman. So I would say that see, there are set timelines. So if you set a timeline, so within the timeline, it is desirable that a child picks up something. So now, see, if you believe that the timeline or the window of opportunity for the child is about 6 hours for the child to pick up and learn, it is not necessary that the child needs to give a response in the first hour. Maybe some children would do, some children will not. This child needs more effort to understand concepts, but when he understands concept, his learning is permanent. So if see, he takes a longer time, yes, he can take a longer time, but this longer time is relative. Let us say, see, for a child to understand a concept which he needs to pick up in 5 days, he takes 50 days. It is not desirable. So when it is not desirable, so he struggles and he is not in tune with the rest of the class. Maybe he learns, but he learns at his own pace. So for this particular child, if he is within the acceptable temporal window, temporal meaning time window, so it is all right. But if he is not, then he might need special attention. I'm not saying that he needs attention as a special education classroom. He needs special attention because you need to give him those skill sets which will permit him to understand concepts within a time frame. So how best can we meet parent expectations for the students in grade 10 and 12 during the lockdown in spite of arranging online sessions? So can you define these expectations? So if I am making assumptions that grade 10 and grade 12 students are to be prepared and primed only for the examinations and their only purpose in life is to pass board examination, the parents are wrong. Okay, so now I had a webinar with some health experts, psychiatrists and adolescent pediatricians a couple of days back. And there is a fear now that the children are having a screen time in excess of 10 to 12 hours a day. And it is shown to seriously impact the way their brain functions, their sleep rhythm, and also their predispositions to social and emotional quotients. So you know how terrible this is going to be. So your online sessions are actually killing them in the long run. You need to be absolutely certain that you're only going to do this for a couple of hours a day, and ensure that the children get all their social and emotional requirements met, even when they are at home, even when they are in the lockdown. It is very unfortunate that the government is imposing a lot of load, and we may not be permitted to do the things in a social gathering or in a community setup. Nevertheless, the parents and the neighborhood will have to attempt to come together in different ways to ensure that the social and emotional needs are also met during this time. And 10th and 12th is not anything special. So the only thing that we might do is to cross a particular milestone in life. So, see, for us, the milestone seems to be more important than all the joys and happiness that we can share when we are going through that particular age. See, give only so much importance to 10th and 12th, and not more, and not less either.
Sir, if you don't mind, one teacher,
Yeah.
she asked a question, but the question has gone up. Can I ask Persis ma'am to unmute and ask? Persis? Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, my question is, so many times the growth of the child or the learning of a child is both from parent side and even as well as teachers. But mostly the teachers are blamed or the school is blamed. The moment there is any behavioral mistake from the end of a student, immediately they say, you belong to which school? Where do you study? Who's your teacher? What do they teach you? So why is that only the school or the teachers are blamed when the growth of a child is inclusive from all the ends?
Okay, see, I pointed this out in some of my slides. See, it is very, very natural for anybody to be defensive. So when a parent does that, believe me, the parent is aware of her inadequacy, but is unwilling to share that inadequacy with you. So let us say a teacher blames the child for her inability to educate the child in a particular way. So a parent does the same thing. All of us are humans, and at different times, we believe that we will not be in a position to share our inadequacies or our failures and want to put the blame on the others. The same thing is happening with the parents. So what we need to do now is we need to collectively come up with a plan. So please excuse me, I'll just take a call. Hello. Hi Evelyn, I would like that you come to school tomorrow, day after. Maybe if it's possible, you have a vehicle. Yeah, yeah, you can come tomorrow, maybe around 11:30 in the morning. I'll see you at school. Yeah, please. See, we need to sit together and decide. Saying that, look, see, why do you feel that the school is responsible? Where, see, all of us are in raising this child together. So the child has to participate in his own growing up as well. So there is no excluding this child. See, what happens is that there is a load on families if they make a comparison with their brother's children or their neighbor's children or their friend's children. So, so you understand. So if this statement is made to the parent is on the defensive. The parent does not know. Oh my God! So your child is going to this particular school. That's the reason why he did not score. So you understand. So this is an opinion that is pushed on to the parent to pick up a fight at the school. See, we do this at times, right? So especially in meetings, I have this remarkable skill for confusing the hell out of people because I don't have an answer. You either have to be extremely convincing or extremely confusing. I choose to play the later game because I want to confuse the hell out of people, because they will start fighting with each other and the meeting time will pass. So the question now is to understand. So it is an issue. The issue is failure or inability to perform. It is not the person who is responsible for it. These are the conditions which set forth the issue to be a problem. Now, if we crack that, let us say, okay, let us go to the why. So the why of the problem is this child's inability to access information. Now, if you provide information, the child is in a position to translate it because he is intelligent. The second is the inability of the child to process information. That is his inadequacy to learn something, and that learning has to be supported by both the parent and the teacher. If the parent does not have the bandwidth to support, let us say that it needs specific expert skill sets, then the expert will be a teacher, a counselor, a doctor, a psychiatrist, a pediatrician, or whoever. So an occupational therapist or whoever. So this will also have to be the third thing is that the child is able to access information, process information, but not deliver the information the way you desire that information to be. Let us then say that he does not like to put pen on paper. If you ask answer for a question, he is willing to answer, but he hates putting pen on paper. Now, unfortunately, I do not have a system that promotes independent learning possibilities for the child, and my assessment tools do not map to the child's multiple intelligences. It maps only to certain intelligences that I feel that the child should possess. So it is very unfortunate. This problem will continue till we have a pen on paper test. We need to have multiple ways to assess a child, and when the parent believes that the child has actually learned, some of these problems are released. So it is very unfortunate. These problems are likely to continue to some extent. It is only that you can give patch solutions for some, because these problems are there to stay. You cannot release the pain completely. You can give a painkiller, so and again this pain will resurface. So it is like a boil on your bums which will never heal, because every time you sit it is going to hurt. So the only way you can not feel the pain is make sure that you don't sit or you stand. So it is as easy as that. So don't be worried too much about finding answers for everything. Certain things you will not find answers. It is good to go with this pain, because this pain also tells you how to deal with pain.
Thank you, sir. Already time is 11. Anyway, I would like to request you only answer only one last question. That is how to deal with aggressive parents.
See, again, let us define aggression. See, in most cases, they do not understand the civil codes of behavior and etiquette. So it is very unfortunate that these civil codes and etiquette are not met with. I've had instances where a parent walks into my room. So he threatens me, saying that he will only make this child come to school the way he desires. So the child will not pack the bag. The child cannot wear uniform. So the child will not wear shoes. So he can be picked up from the classroom. He can come in and go anytime he pleases. So this could be, let us say, a minister's son or an MLA's son. So, but this gentleman does not understand civilian codes and behavioral codes. So the only language that he will understand, the language that he is familiar with. So it is Sarasa Sama Dana Beda Dandam. So use everything. I mean, if he is aggressive, there would be a point where you need to aggressively demonstrate that it is not accepted. And it's a sorry state of affairs. The child has to leave, and you need to call the police. So making sure that the parent does not come into the school. So in most cases, the aggression is actually compounded because of the parents inability to understand the situation and his unwillingness to accept what is in front of him. So I would say that if the parent is sensible and only that his emotions are flaring up at a particular point in time, I would say at that I will eat my ego and say sorry to him. But I would tell him that I would want to have a private meeting with this particular parent. And when I have that private meeting, I will tell him what my intentions truly are. So the way I want to say that, and there are times where the parent has pushed me to the level that I have become seriously aggressive. Because in one instance, I had a parent this year where the boy has sought for a transfer certificate. So during this particular lockdown period. So he applies through this portal yesterday and comes today this morning and insists that the TC is released immediately. So it has been published that it would take 3 days, and during the lockdown period, it has already been told to the parent that in case he wants any special request to be addressed, so he has to go through a particular process, and he has not followed that process. So I understand because the admission into another school that he is desiring next to his residence, say, has insisted that he pays the fees immediately, otherwise he will forfeit admissions. So the question now is, because he is familiar with the situation in my school, and because he knows that we treat people with a lot of empathy, love and care, he does not want to play the same card with the other school. He is choosing to do that. So he comes to me and demands TC, and he says that I have a set of inefficient people, and it is my responsibility to bring in people during this lockdown time to service his request immediately. And while servicing his request, it's also said that I need to refund a security deposit that he has paid. Almost any of this is not possible during this time. He is extremely aggressive. To the level that all of us are hopeless and things like that. I said that, sir, this is what you need to do. So find an advocate, go to the police, so make a complaint on the school. So make a complaint in the court. So for behaving in this fashion, for coming and doing this, so I am going to record all your statements, and I am asking you to sign it, and I am going to take you to court. There is no way I am going to let this go. I am going to take you to court, and I will see you at court. And believe me, I am not going to release this TC till such a time that the court settles this issue. So you will not get a TC. I mean, because I am taking you to court, you will be taking me to court. We will settle it at court. I will issue the TC on a particular date that the court convenes and permits me. So see, the question is, you need to understand the template or the platform on which the dialogue starts. And believe me, when they use language like this, you need to come on top of them by putting a serious enough threat that it is going to be counterproductive for the parent. There is no way the parent can afford to not to get a TC. You understand? So that's how I would react, and I would react. See, you know the sad story already. I don't want to repeat it because this sad story is obscene. You know what happened in Chettinad Vidyashram when a teacher pulled down the trousers of a boy because she needed to penalize him, and where it all went, and what I did to sort of get out of the situation. You need to be seriously audacious and bold when you deal with these people, and you need to be acutely aware that so they are going to flare up your temper easily. I mean, I get flared up. But then when I do that, I just walk out for this brief few minutes, recompose my thoughts, and then get back, and then I give the answer that the parent truly deserves. So this is what you need to do. There are aggressive parents. There is no way you can eliminate them from the system. So you need to tell the language that other parents get. When you deal with one such parent, should be so bold that they will not dare become aggressive. Because see, there is etiquette. I mean, see, there is a civilian etiquette. You can't do this. See, you can't go into a church and then abuse Jesus Christ, right? You can't do that. Right? So there is a sanctity to that particular place. You can be, but you will have to face those consequences, and then he jolly will face those consequences.
Right.
And I'm certain that you should not lose your cool. And especially teachers, see, you have a bigger challenge than principals, because this PTAs, this open days, all that, you will face trouble.
True, sir. Good, sir. So thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for spending your valuable time with us. Yeah. Really, each and every one of us learned a lot. And
I'll send this presentation to you by WhatsApp or email, so that it can be shared. What I will also do is, I started working on it, but I got into some other challenges, so I couldn't complete it. I created some Google forms for the teachers to ask questions to parents. Okay. So I will share those Google forms maybe in a couple of days, because I need to sit and work with them. So you can share these Google forms to sort of bring the parents on board. So they are also human beings, and we have also been parents at different times. And see, I know I may not accept it, but I have been obnoxious as a parent. So there is it's natural. You're not saints, or you're not gods and angels. So believe me, we are just like anybody else, and we would have gone through the same kind of problems that we feel that the parents are going through.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is this session recorded?
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. I'll send a copy.
Yeah, can you share this, because I would like to see what happened and play it back at
definitely,
a convenient time.
Definitely, sir. Definitely, yeah. I will send it to you.
Yeah. So say hi to Bhunesh. So
sure, sir.
So it's been a while. I have not spoken to him, and see, my respects to Ranganathan sir. So,
sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah, so I'll stay connected, Shiva. So we will have a chat sometime this evening.
Right,
so thank you, teachers. I hope that your time was well spent. I'm not certain about that. So if there are any challenges that you see, or if you feel that I might not have done justice to this particular talk, please share the same, because it will be a very good pointer for me to improve. So if there is anything you feel that I can do better, please share it with me, because it is so very important for me to learn from. See, you are my critics, and I would have a very open heart to listen to your comments. If there are any comments, please pass it on, because it is very important that I learn as well.
A lot of thanks messages are pouring in, sir.
Thanks messages are there. See, I would want a devil's advocate. Understood? So there should be a devil's advocate. I mean, say, tell me if I have bungled somewhere, I've not done, and the slides look monotonous. I could have done it in a different way. It should be shared, because this is a common. It's not. I'm not talking down to you. I'm talking with you. So we are having a dialogue. So Shiva, see, your own experiences, you don't have to feel shy or feel disrespectful. Please share anything that you feel can be improved, because it's hugely important. Sure. Because every time you get good comments and somebody peruses what you have done, so there is always a scope to improve and do better the next time.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
God bless you all. So stay safe.
Thank you, sir.
So may we have better time than the lockdown times.
Sure, sir. We'll meet again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
God bless you all. Yes.
Thank you.